Okay, picture this. Bits Market. Retro, new, old, everywhere in between, as far as the eye can see. But it's open 24 hours. This place is real. And I went there. And would you believe me if I told you that I didn't spend a single dollar buying a bit from this heaven? Yeah, to be frank, I didn't spend any money because I just gave all my friends my money to buy the weirdest stuff they could find for me.
Yeah, okay, come on.
All right, we're going.
Something gross,
Okay.
something I'll hate,
Okay.
but also love.
Okay, beautiful. I'm your man.
Okay.
I'll be back.
You guys, this guy kind of knows what he's wanting to do.
Eric's gonna take that $20 and just buy more shit for himself. I guarantee it. Watch this.
But I found some garbage for you.
Thank you
I
so
wasted 11 of your dollars. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
$100. I can help myself.
How did you...
So there's no change. But I got some really good shit. You want to see it right now?
Yeah.
Alright. Some of it's for me, some is not for me.
This is what I said he would do. Some of it's for him.
I also made one very special request, and that was to Fiverr of Sugar Candy Miniatures. To celebrate Pride Month and inclusivity, they do a project where they make clowns from goblins, and they get all sorts of creative people to do it. And I knew they would be at Adepticon, so I made the request that I would give them $20, this is very Inception, to find me a goblin for their project. I wanted them to pick out the goblin and I would convert it that day. They didn't give me a goblin, they instead gave me a pink horror.
It's a horror. Yeah, it's H horror.
I like that he had a little tail, and
Yeah.
he seemed like he wanted to be a goblin, so I thought maybe you could help him.
I'll gobblify it for sure.
Excellent. And he was only $7, so not even like a half of the budget.
Great. I get all this, whatever this is.
And they asked me to turn it into a goblin, so I green stuffed it on the spot and I got them to paint it for me. Hey, do you have a pic of the... Here we go, okay. This is what we ended up with. Okay, so what about all the other bits? What happened to those? This is a result of my friends buying my bits. And this was a collaboration with my mate Dylan. We met at Adepticon. It's clearly very Doom inspired, right? Hang on, let me get Dylan to explain the situation. He's doing a lot of takes here. Okay, let's listen.
After the infamous meat grinder event on the first night, a whole bunch of us went back to the Grimdark Alley and dumped out a bunch of bits, and Trent and I were sitting next to each other, and he pulls out this like old metal Minotaur, and he's like, let's do something weird to this. So we just traded bits back and forth, and some green stuff, some community green stuff, and we're just making some freaky dudes. And then took those home back with me to Missouri and painted them up, and and then we ended up with a Minotaur with 2 projectile weapons for arms.
There were 2 details in Dylan's voice message. One was the community green stuff. There's a pre-mixed wad of green stuff we were sharing among like 14 people. And we didn't have any sculpting tools. We were using spears from the bits box. And he also mentioned the meat grinder. And the meat grinder might be the most formative moment I've ever had in my whole entire hobby. We got to talk about it. And I haven't really wanted to talk about it really because it feels quite sacred, honestly. But it is also maybe the most important thing, so. Good morning. Ah, okay. I forgot I was gonna organize this today. I've been trying to work out the best way of telling this story. In another vlog, I made this table, pentagram of my inspiration, the most formative moments. And right here is Robot Wars. My very first tabletop club. Maybe I was like 12. Every time the club would go on a break for the holidays, we would play a game that our friend Bo had made called Robot Wars. And the idea was you'd get one of your biggest models and you would pit them against each other in an arena battle to the death. We used models that were about the size of a dreadnought, a 40k Space Marine dreadnought. And we used Warhammer 40k stats. We set up terrain and all the models would just brawl each other. And we had what we called Quake physics. So when a dreadnought punched another dreadnought, it would go flying. And you could use rockets to launch yourself to higher places. This moment, this game, shaped so much. It's probably why I got so invested in making games myself. And my friend Bo, he wrote the rules and he wrote them all out and then he lost them on a hard drive. And it's haunted me. It's haunted me, absolutely haunted me, because I just want to get back that feeling. So that right there is Robot Wars. And I won't be elaborating on anything else. That kit bashing night at Adepticon, I made a third kit bash, and it ended up using a lot of the spare parts that my friends had bought for me, and I made a Genestealer Gorka Morka Orc hybrid. So I was putting a lot into this model, a lot of good energy, because it was going to need it, because I was entering it into the meat grinder. Now, the meat grinder, well, let me show you. This is the meat grinder. Models that die in this arena get ground to a halt. You know, for like 15 years, I had this void in my heart left from Robot Wars. This game I played as a kid that I cherished so much and I thought it was the best game ever. And after 15 years, I found it again. And I found it in the bottom of a meat grinder as I'm watching my miniature spurt out the bottom into pieces. And I realized it wasn't the game that mattered, it was the people, the atmosphere, the excitement around me that mattered. This game, this meat grinder game, attracts the weirdest art punk people that kit bash and convert and paint miniatures for hours, all for the tiniest slim chance for it to not be ground up. And they're my kind of people, and that's why it's the best game ever. And just like Robot Wars, you know, this game that we cherished at the club because it was the end of the year. Playing it meant we wouldn't see our friends for a little while. It's the same here. Next year can't come soon enough.